Good morning. And how are we doing on this fine Tuesday morning, April the 22nd? Hope you're doing fine as we broadcast live from Studio A here on the banks of the Southern Fried River. Just me this morning, no Rob. Rob's resting in. It's Tuesday. Just got Dave in the AM on your Tuesday and Thursday mornings for the morning show. We hope you have had a fine start to your week and that you're ready to tackle some more of it and get on into the middle of your work week, headed towards the weekend, where hopefully you have great plans ahead. Some people have to work the weekend. I do work a little bit on Saturday, so I understand. But a lot of people have the weekend off. But you might be off today, so it might be that today is your day. It's your day. It's your way. Whatever you want to do with it, you just have fun with it. It's great to be alive today. The alternatives are not great. So it's great to be alive. Even with trouble, it's great to be alive. Had a good day yesterday. Got a few things accomplished. Grandbaby's cast. Take it off. A temporary cast. A shorter, better, more maneuverable cast was put on for her broken wing, as we say. 3 weeks and we go back. So spent a lot of time with a 12-year-old. We have a great time together, though. We really do. It's interesting. She keeps me young. Well, she gives me funny looks sometimes for some of the things that I say. She's a 12-year-old. Another good news is Dean, co-host for the Southern Fried Racing Hour, had his successful knee replacement surgery. Is home on the mend. He should be with us for the next show as we look towards Talladega. But he'll be coming in live from home on the laptop, not in studio. Got to recuperate some, get that knee a little bit more down the road before he traverses back over to Studio A. Rob got some of his deck more completed. In fact, he sat on it last night with his rocking chair. That's his retirement spot, rocking chair on the front porch. We do our front porch talking. Me and him both are going to have to do maybe we'll do it in the fall, do a front porch show. Truly from the front porch. America's still kicking butt and taking names. Some of the reports of the Houthis and how much they've been hit. They got hit again, I think. I think they've hit them again. I don't think that they are too happy with the results of their running their mouth. Another person who's not happy this morning is the leader of the military base, who decided not to put the command structure up and was relieved of duty. I don't understand people that do such petty, childish things. Your command structure is your command structure. In the military, that command structure is everything. You got to know your command structure. From the time you enter the military, you have to know your commanders, that direct line of commanders, all the way from you to the president, the commander-in-chief. And if you decide not to put the commander-in-chief up and the vice president and the secretary of defense on the command structure wall, what in the world do you expect to happen to your career? Obviously a long career, a decorated career, has made it to a level, and then with such pettiness as to leave the command structure missing key figures, especially at the top. What do you expect is going to happen to you? I mean, it doesn't matter to me if you like someone or don't like them. You have to have the command structure up. I mean, I just don't. I don't get that way of thinking, to burn yourself down to make some sort of statement. It's really stupid. Good morning, Spartan. How you doing? Oh, yeah, it does. It does seem as he is trying to prevent a war in Iran. See, not always are they doing what you think. Sometimes it goes against the grain, right? News this morning from Dr. Redfield to Newsmax that the lab leak cover-up has been exposed. He's a former CDC director, Robert Redfield. He held that as now being widely acknowledged, so they can put an end to this gain of function funding and deal with the aftermath of the pandemic. Strong statements this morning, but we've all known where that's been. Well, that would be a coup, Spartan. And there are people who like to say such things, but good morning, Miss Cindy. Hope you're well. Oh, are you in or headed to? I guess you would be in South Carolina this morning, correct? Would that be correct thinking on my part? Because I think it's today, or is that tomorrow? I think it's today, right? that you are in South Carolina, the great state of South Carolina. I think that's where you are. You can correct me if I'm wrong or right or wrong or whatever. I am off work again today. I took a couple of days off to get some things done. Lots going on. Trying to get a few things of life done. Sometimes that's hard to do when you work 5 days a week. So the days are there. So well, yeah, I mean, that's never a good thing. I know there are people who call for such things, but that would be not a good thing in America, my friend. That would be bad. I mean, there were people all the way back to 2016 called for using American military forces to arrest those who had violated the Constitution of the United States. But that in the aftermath and chaos of that, it would be, wow, that would be bad. That would be bad. But I get what you're saying, but that's not the way it works here, whether you like them or not. We just continue to work within our elections, and we don't do such things. So, hope you're doing well this morning. We had a little rain. I think we got some storms. There have been some massive storms run through some of the states. There's been some tornado damage. In fact, one of the men that I know, his son works for the electric company, and they're going to be going. They were already dispatched to Oklahoma, to replace obviously power poles and power lines and things like that. Massive tornadoes and stuff that came through the state of Oklahoma. I've been in Oklahoma 3 times, something like that. I was glad I never saw nothing like that. I mean, there are places out there that's so flat. I like my mountain. There are places in Texas and Oklahoma that are so flat. I mean, you can see for 50 miles. I mean, you're looking for a rock to hide behind. There's no ditch. I talk about ditch. You don't see a ditch. I mean, you see it coming, and you just got to hope you can avoid it. I mean, there's nowhere to go. There's a little depression in the ground. I mean, I remember headed towards a vicious storm. I was coming out of the panhandle of Texas and headed back into Oklahoma. I was looking for anything for miles. It was a bad storm. I didn't see a tornado, but I didn't see yes, Spartan. Well, the short term would be really bad. Really, really, really bad. But I understand. There's a lot of people talked about scenarios like that. A lot of people talked about scenarios like that. Oh, that's heavy talk for a Tuesday morning. Oh, they are continuing to look for the new pope. They're going through the process of that. I'm not Catholic. I'm not a supporter of that, but it is a news event, and we'll see. We read off yesterday the proposed, or what people believe would be in the top echelon of the potential pope replacements, waiting on the puff of white smoke after they have agreed in the background to get the votes necessary to have a new pope. Read off about 6 candidates, I believe that was. We will see who they select in the days to come. I wonder what you think, and I just asked this. I'm not looking for a specific answer, but I do ask this as a matter of, and I know that it has changed over the years, and the president can certainly do what the president wants to do. This is not I'm not being critical, but I am just kind of throwing it out there. Is it proper protocol? I haven't looked it up. And I like I said, I think in the last few years, we've probably changed it a little bit. And I know, it seemed like in my mind, I remember a couple of times where I was thinking, I can't believe they did that for this. And this is not to be critical or anything of the Pope or Catholics or anything. But I was a little shocked to learn that the president put the flags at half staff. I really, I don't know. I don't know the proper protocol on that. I know I've looked it up and I know I've read it. I thought that was for things within America. Maybe there is, maybe we've joined with other nations in disasters for doing that, or I'm not sure. I get the significance of it. I get it's a major event, and the president is trying to show compassion and everything. And I'm not saying anything against that. I'm just going to the, is it proper protocol in the lowering of the flags? What does it fall within that? I mean, he can order it. He's a commander in chief, but is that something that is normal? I mean, I see people all the time, and people notice it, as we should. If you put the flags at half staff, people don't even know why. They'll say, "Hey, why's the flags at half staff?" And people say it's because this. And I think I actually read that on this one, and I was just trying to understand that. Spartan says, I was raised Catholic, but I am closer to being a deist. I do not believe in any religion that has been able to capture what the one true God is. He is far beyond the understanding of humans. Well, the last statement is true. He is far beyond the understanding. I will agree with you there. I don't go through a human for that understanding. I go through the scriptures. But I certainly have a relationship with Christ Jesus. But I appreciate your statement. But as you still go to Catholic church sometimes. That is the great thing about Poland. There are multiple Catholic churches, even in small towns. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, you would know more than me that that's a very. I mean, in many parts of the world. I mean, you still get that a lot. But you're also an American citizen. I believe you told me that you have dual citizenship and even live in America, if I remember right. But does anybody know the answer? I'm going to look it up. And again, I'm not being critical. It's just something I've noticed, and I've been wondering about that for some time. It seems as though we lower the flags. It's become a very symbolic thing where we do that. And I don't want to say political, but I think it is used in a very political way sometimes for that. But again, I think it's just the goodwill of the United States saying that. Okay, yeah, correct. Live in both countries some of the time. Okay. I like that you have that. You bring a perspective. I know we don't always agree on everything. That's fine. We don't have to. But you bring a perspective that I don't have. I appeal to those things. I've never been to Poland, although I think I would like to visit. I don't see me leaving the country anytime soon, and maybe ever again. But if it was presented itself and it wasn't, I would be interested. But yeah, I just wondered if the protocol of the lowering of the flags, is that something that's, is that something that is typical? I'm just not sure about that. I just thought it was interesting that they did that. So anyway, interesting. Most people don't even understand. I mean, you have to look. I mean, I think there's a place you can go look that up, and they will announce it. I mean, I know there's a place where they announce that they're lowered, but I know that I think it tells you the reason why they actually post that. Well, you're busy then if you're following Polish politics and American politics. Bless your heart. Is Polish politics? I'd say it's pretty interesting, like most politics can be out there in the world. What I don't know much about much. When I say much, the top of a needle would tell you how much I know about Polish politics. I've read a few things about there, but not much. I don't know the phrases and terms of what they're. I think that there is the Polish leaders called a premier or president. I can't remember. I cannot remember. I may even have that wrong. And then what their Congress maybe is called. If you could post that. Yeah. I'm not sure. Don't forget, folks, Patriot Mobile, promo code cornbread. our landing page, and I don't have on this particular background, but I have made a QR code for the landing page. But if you just go to Patriot Mobile and put in that promo code cornbread, we do have a landing page though, and it's pretty cool. I've enjoyed. They did a great job with that. Looks great. Has our things on there. I am hoping that today, our website hopefully will drop. I'm hopeful for that. Poland is a president, fake right wing, and a premier far leftist currently. I find that disgusting. So, and then Israel has the a president, but their president is like ceremonial, with kissing babies and handshake kind of deal. So the prime minister is the one who has the collection of power from the parties that make up the Knesset. I know that. It's interesting what each one has. There's still some kings out there. There's still some kings, I think, in a couple of locations in the world. Is it Monaco or Morocco still has a king? Anyway, my brain is hurting this morning even thinking about it. And some would say that the president is trying to be king. That's what they're calling him. We've got to come out and stop him. He's taking over the country. He's a dictator. That's what they say. No, it's still the president of the United States of America. I have said, though, for some time, even though the president is the commander-in-chief, I have thought that for a few decades now, especially the last 3 decades. It may be longer than that, but especially then. We probably should go back a little further. That the president has gained a little. I don't like the use of executive powers, and people that have their person in love it. But as soon as it becomes the person they don't like, they hate it. And it seems as though every president is just ruling by executive order. It can't do everything like that, but a huge chunk. I mean, hundreds of executive orders are issued during the presidency. I think we need to tighten that up. It doesn't matter which party. I think it needs to be tightened up. The president should have some discretion, yes, but Congress is not. We're a constitutional republic. We elect people to do things, and the president, there's certain things the president should have the ability to do, but I think those powers are a little bit too broad. I don't think it was intended that way, but I think that's where we've got. And the use of executive action has become the playpen of presidents. And I've said this for years. It has nothing to do with now, although you hear the same argument. We complain about when Biden was doing it. It's like, they complain about when Trump does it. They'll say, that's why they try to call him a king, because he's just issuing, stacks of executive orders. And they brag about it. Both sides do. But with the stroke of a pen. I'm not sure about that. That's, for me, that's my opinion. I'm entitled to it, and I just don't like it. Spartan says Poland was most powerful when it had a strong king. I didn't actually know that they ever had a king. Very long ago, sadly. How long ago has it been? Just estimated, Spartan. I mean, you're from there, a citizen of there, and go there. How long ago has it been since Poland had a king? And with all due respect, and it just pops in my head, and I just wonder, at what point, because I don't believe in demeaning any culture or group or anything like that, had many kings. But I mean, how long ago since they actually had a king, ruling the country? And I don't think I've ever looked it up, but where did we get this whole idea of making these Polish jokes and things? I never found those funny at all. I'm honest. I'm not kidding. I've heard people say that, and I thought, why would you say that? I've never liked that. I thought that was silly. I just don't know the background on it. Stanislaw II, August Poniatowski. Stanislaw II, August Poniatowski. He ruled from 1764 to 1795 and was the final monarch of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Okay. You know, I like history. I think that area, that region, is one that I'm a little bit weaker on. That's thanks for the information. So in today's world, I mean, that's how we got Stan. People shortened that down to Stan. There were a lot of Stans. And maybe some others, but I certainly could see that. 1764 to 1795. So in the time that America has been around, Poland did have a king. Interesting. What event, if you know, you don't have to get into great detail. I know it's a lot to put into the chat, but what event changed that type of, was it war? What made it change? Did the people demand it? Okay, let me say maybe it was Russian or Russian Jews coming over. I say though. Okay, I don't know. Obviously, somebody didn't like them, Polish people, and started that. And I don't know why it has caught on so much. When I was a kid, and I'd hear people say it in school, and it could be anybody. It didn't have to be. It didn't have to be Polish people. They could have said that about any people group, and you're just trying to make fun, a joke, at the expense of somebody's nationality or background or whatever. And I always wonder why are you making fun of them? What, and why do we laugh at it? You know, I mean, I may have laughed at one of them and didn't even realize why I was laughing at it. You know, I've always been an analyst. I've always thought on stuff like that when I was a kid. And then I wondered, because I can on the good Lord's name, I never heard that in my home. Now, my dad was raised to believe, you know, he was raised to kind of believe in the separation of races and stuff, but he never spoke down to any man. You know, I think it was hard for him because generationally and culturally, he had that in his background. But I never heard him use derogatory terms about another human being. And so that was, and my mom taught me more than anybody else to love everybody. She was giving me Christian precepts and principles, and was not even a Christian, was not really raised in the church, but had a great love in her heart and taught me to love everybody. And if I ever got caught up in the same thing that I picked up from anybody else, she used that famous phrase, "I will wash your mouth out with soap, young man. Don't you ever let me hear you say something like that again." And I love my mom, and I was thinking, oh, I didn't mean to offend. I thought it was funny or something, but I honestly never. And I'm sure I probably did laugh because you laugh with the crowd. And then I would think, why did I laugh at that? And it disgusted me. And I would hear people say that when I was older, and I just shook my head at it, like, okay, why is that funny to you? People, maybe that's why I've always went to the beat of my own drum, and I've never been in cliques in my life. I've always had a strong opinion about stuff, and I just always questioned why. And I think that was another teaching, and it was my dad, actually. My dad taught me not to run with the crowd, to stand on your own 2 feet. You know, don't run with a group of people just because it's a group, because they may be wrong. You may be following the wrong way. To have your own opinion, to form your own opinions, and stand on your beliefs. And I've always felt strong about that. And, you know, I've always been a little bit of a rebel that way, because I don't stand with the status quo. And I just always thought that was dumb. And I've heard it about other people groups as well. I remember going to an event one time. I won't say where, and I don't want to be too descriptive, because it could still be people listening that might think I was putting down their family because they would be connected, although they've never said it. But I was invited to an event one time, and me and my wife were disgusted at the jokes that were being shared. And I told her, I said, let's slip out. Let's just go around, thank the host for having us. It wasn't them that said it, but they were laughing with it. It was very, very obvious that everybody at this gathering didn't like a certain people group. And it was disgusting to me. It made me sick at my stomach. And we slipped out, and I said, I will never be back. I've never liked that. Um, Spartan says, well, the larger white groups picked on a few other groups. Well, yeah, and that's true. You absolutely right. The Irish were very much picked on, and then Polish later. He abdicated in November 1795. He spent his final years in St. Petersburg, Russia. Interesting. Commonwealth, but external pressure from Russia, Prussia, and Austria ultimately led to the partitions of Poland, which resulted in the country's dissolution. Okay, thank you for the social studies education. I love that kind of stuff. I love to know, as it really helps to understand the background. And listen, I don't like Vladimir Putin, but when he was in his version educating Tucker Carlson about the history of that area, that whole area, I did find that fascinating, because you have to understand the old hate. You have to understand how things happen. It helps to understand that. Prussia was a rising military powerhouse in that time. That's true. I do know that. Highly disciplined army, innovative tactics, and a strong economy. Yes, I do know that. I love that kind of stuff. But anyway, but yeah, I just never got caught up into the putting down of a people group. Now, and if you think about it, I mean, we've had major problems with that in America, and we've come a long way. I don't think I've ever saw one in my life, but for a long time in front of the what was it, the hardware store. Well, I forget what they called them back in the day, but they had the Indian, carved Indians there and stuff. Those were not meant to be an honorary thing. Certain things that people put in their front yard was not meant. It was not meant to be there in a nice way. It was always a put down. I just never liked that kind of stuff. I never wanted to offend other people. I never wanted to, and again, that comes back to the teaching. I remember one time I heard a little boy say something very negative, and I looked at his dad. I was expecting, because I know what would happen with my dad and my mom, how quick the rebuke would be if they ever heard me say something negative or a put down of another individual. And I was looking at the dad for the correction. And I was disgusted. This is a long time ago. I was disgusted when I realized that when I looked and the dad was laughing. And it was almost like, that's my boy. And I looked at it's a friend of mine, and I looked at him and I was like, you're joking, right? And it caught me totally off guard. And he's like, no, I've raised him to believe that way. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, okay, even if you feel that way, do you think that's why you teach your son that and go to, because I think he even got in trouble at school. And he's like, no, badge of honor. I could, it's sick. This made me sick. I'm like, what in the world? Why would you poison your boy's mind that way? Why would you do that? That's horrible. It's horrible. And we could dislike the way a leader does, and we don't have no use for terrorists, but just put down another human being. I want to get to know somebody. I want to know somebody. I remember people that I've met that were in the Bosnian, Serbian war. Horrible stuff. It's ugly. It's a lot of torture, a lot of just death and destruction, as it always is. Their neighbor, one day, they come out and they had a gun aimed at them. They jumped back and said, "What are you doing, Mr. whatever his name was?" He said, "You are now my enemy." When did we become enemies? He said, "We're at war." He said, "But we don't have to be at war. We're neighbors. We're friends." He said, "Not anymore. I gave you this one, but if I see you again, I'll kill you. I want you to know I didn't want to hit. He didn't want, he said, I'll face you head on. He said, from that day forward, the war became real for me. I couldn't even walk outside of my house. And eventually he was grabbed and put in the army and fought. But can you imagine that? Imagine walking out of your home and your neighbor all of a sudden that you've been friends with for 15, 20 years, whatever it is. Y'all have broke bread together, laughed together, helped each other through hard times, has a gun on you because some entity up here says, we're at war, you are now the enemy. That's tough. That's tough. I'm glad that we don't know what that feels like, per se. Although I would say during World War II, we did that with the gathering up of the Japanese Americans. And they had to feel that way. We're friends. No, you're going to an internment camp. We're locking you up. I'm not at war with anybody. I'm an American. I've got an ugly history that way. All these people that always itching for America to get war, gotta be careful. War's bad. Of course, we lose our sons and daughters. And then what if war came here? We want to have strong defense so that we don't have to have that happen in our country. Because we would not want to be, you just wouldn't want to see that. People don't realize how bad it gets. The war between the states should show us just how bad it gets and the loss of life and the hurt and wounded after effects of that for 150 years. A lot of that has fell by the wayside, but Poland is a flat land, which is easy for an army to move through it. Germanic and Russian powers always disliked the Polish state in the center of them. That valley, and coming up that out of Russia, they cross over the land bridge, or they could come around that Kursk region, but coming up the Dnieper River, that valley, which flows right into Canada. Poland, excuse me, not Canada. Sorry, flows right, into Poland, and so I could see that. Yeah, I didn't know that it was the topography. I didn't know it was very flat like that. Interesting. We'll have to get us some pictures up of Poland and some of the. That'd be a fun show. We could do that. It'd be fun to have something like that. Poland is kind of a marching area of conflicting armies. That's a strong and powerful statement there. Soil drenched in blood. Yeah. When I walk onto an American battlefield, I say stuff like that. I try to put it in those terms for my kids and grandkids. I will say the ground you walk on, because all they see is a nice mowed field with some monuments. I say you have to imagine 150, 55 years ago, whatever it was. I said this right here was a land soaked in blood. And they look at you like, I want you to see it. Visualize it. War is not good. And so want them to understand that cost, the cost of freedom, and how many have laid down their life. And when you look at that battle of Armageddon that's prophesied in the Bible, and the blood of the horse's bridle, just think about that. What kind of death and destruction is that imagery alluding to? It's an amazing, amazing thing. But yeah, war is horrible. Like I said, they're being slaughtered. The slaughter going on right now in especially the Russia-Ukraine war. And in regional conflicts, tribal conflicts, the Rwandans, they were hatcheting. The two tribes were using machetes to hatchet, just hatchet each other to death, just whack each other. They didn't have guns, many of them. They just take out machete or whatever they could get and just hack their enemies to death. Horrible. Boy, those are morbid thoughts on a Tuesday. Enjoy your breakfast. But interesting discussion for sure. Oh my goodness. Another story this morning, the U.S. military has detained migrants at the southern border in New Mexico. Interesting. At the border, CENTCOM, or U.S. Northern Command, not CENTCOM, but U.S. Northern Command, they have authorized to temporarily detain and search for illegal immigrants along a designated area of the southern border referred to as the New Mexico National Defense Area, NMNDA. President Trump issued a memo authorizing the military to conduct operations on federal lands along the southern border. While Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt later commented that Trump signed a national security presidential memorandum directing federal agencies administering federal land on the border to make land available for the Defense Department in a new national defense area. This new national defense area spans more than 170 miles across our border in New Mexico, but in the coming weeks, this administration will add more than 90 miles in the state of Texas. According to the Northern Command, the military will now be conducting mobile ground-based support to detect, track, and monitor movements of suspected illegal activity using military tactical vehicles or foot patrols within zones assigned by Customs and Border Protection. The military also has been granted the authority to post fences and signage as well. Through these enhanced authorities, U.S. Northern Command will ensure those who illegally trespass in the New Mexico National Defense Area are handed over to Customs and Border Protection or our other law enforcement partners. U.S. Northcom General Gregory Gilliott said Joint Task Force Southern Border will conduct enhanced detection and monitoring, which will include vehicle and foot patrols, rotary wing, and fixed surveillance site operations. Yes, putting some bite and beef into that area. Now, there's other areas that can come through, but they're tightening up where they can. It'd be great to see our whole southern border like that. My gosh, we got to get better. It's a lot better now, but we could even tighten it up more. That's a great, Spartan, that's a great statement. Politics is one level below war. Good politics is preventing war. Evil politics is manipulating parties into war. That may be the most profound thing you've ever said on this podcast. I wholeheartedly agree, and I've never thought of it in that way. That is absolutely a powerful statement and one that I won't forget. Thank you for that. He also says, someone in my family is in the U.S. Army and they're being sent to the border. Okay. Have you talked to them? You may just know about it, but have you talked to them and not how do they feel about it? They feel just that it's another operation? Or do they, feel good about it? Like they're getting to do something that I just wondered if you know and you've talked to them. I just wondered how they felt about it. And don't forget our racing hour. I believe that's on Thursday this week. Yes, Thursday. So tonight we'll have some programming. I've got to get a couple of programs, one program up and out that should have already been out. Yeah, if you would ask Spartan, I would just be curious of their thoughts. And, even after they arrive, not giving up anything that they're doing logistically or nothing like it, just how do they feel about it? Maybe a couple of stories or something that I'd love to share it, nobody knows who this is. We don't have to use anything about it. Just from hey, I talked to my family and this is what they told me that they've experienced. I love that. It breaks down the filters. We get straight from what someone, maybe not everyone, but what someone is experiencing in that region. I think that's important. And I like to have that kind of, kind of intel. I think that's neat to have. I gotta get me something for my chair. I'm sorry it's squeaking. I'm gonna get me some WD-40 or something today. I keep trying to not lean back in it, get that squawk. I apologize. I know that's annoying, and I'm trying not to do that. I like my chair. It's got a squeak. Oh, it's like me. I guess it's getting older and squeakier, and is that the way we all are? Getting a little older and squeakier, stubborn. And don't forget all the great podcasts are out there. Again, we will continue to talk about Kim's Coffee Talk, Killer Carl, Empty Pockets Podcast, Big Tony's. I forget what his full title is called on his. I think Big Tony. If you put that in, you're going to find that podcast on Rumble. All these are Rumble. Rumble. We're rumbling. Have Pine Forge. Yes, I would rather have that local person than any mainstream media. Absolutely. Give me the source. Give me somebody, because they will tell you the skinny. No filters. They're going to say, well, it sucks. It's hot. We've been out here, ain't seen nothing. Or they might say, wow, this is what we've been able to. They might say they saved some lives. That could happen too. Your podcast host will never tell. I gotta say though, brother to brother man, your chair squeaks a whole lot more than mine. Which it doesn't bother me. I think it's funny that some people, it really doesn't bother me. To me, it just gives it character. When I was a kid, I used to love you still see them. You've got it. I think you've got that old roll-up desk, that kind of antique. That's what, the businessmen always have. My grandfather sold insurance at one time. So he had the old roll-up desk, and he had that wooden chair. And I had one for a long time. I don't remember where I got it. And that thing was sturdy as heck. It wasn't the most comfortable thing, but it was not bad. But they have all kind of squeaks in. They have a lot of character. That's what I have. I have character, Steve. I have character. Oh, I hate to go in a meeting and you say, "Oh, these are some great looking chairs," and you get stuck with the one that has a squeak while everybody's moving around and rocking. You've got the one where if you just move a little bit, you get the crowd. Good morning, Brosky Bear. How are you from the great state of North Carolina? Hope things are well in that Charlotte area. Kicking butt and taking names. Conservatism. MAGA country, baby. Oh, I know, but I got it for the right price. My brother found it on the curb. Hey, I like it. I didn't know that. That even gives it better character. It was from the free 99. It's what I do. I love that. It's what I do. Yes. Yes. Proclaiming conservatism and MAGA where you are. Yes. Being the voice of reason. Telling the libtards, this is the way it is. We support our president. Get over it. Cry your liberal tears. Have the Trump derangement syndrome meltdowns. We don't care. I had some people tell me they went to visit family. And they'll be watching. If you're watching, shout out to you. I'm not saying names. They went to see family. Their family they're all leftists. And that's for the whole time they were there, all they wanted to do was rant about Trump. That's when you know you're in your wheelhouse. Things are good. The harvester of leftist tears. It's like, you want to do it. It's like, keep going till they cry. Then you know, job well done. Perusing the internet, popping in chat rooms. That's why when you cut, I don't know what protocols. I don't. Sometimes as a podcaster, I go into rooms and I just want to listen. Talk a lot. I can listen. I like to listen. I like to listen and see what the topic is. I don't mind if somebody wants to talk to me. I'm not against that. And so, I go in rooms and on many different social platforms, from X to YouTube, whatever, Rumble, all across the board, Clapper, TikTok. I've been at them all. And sometimes people invite you up. And, sometimes I have and sometimes I don't. But when you go into some and immediately, they're looking at you. It's almost like there's a spotlight. It's like They've got the dogs out, the torches. They've got the light on you. And you can say, you can feel it. It's like you can feel it. Like they're looking at you like, who are you? And within like seconds, if you don't say something, they might not even say it. They'll just boot you. Like if you don't say something, like good morning, good evening, hey guys, whatever, you're out. Or even if you do, they may kick you out. Like, we just don't even want you here. It's like, we can't stop you coming in. We're banning you now so we can stop you. Weird stuff. One guy was a group of truckers. And right as I was saying, hello, guys, the guy was saying, okay, called my name. I forget what I was in there as. Well, I did. What Southern Fried? Southern Fried, if you don't talk, they went, oh, there you are. Good. I mean, they were talking about bouncing me. It's like, what the heck? I just got the room. I hadn't even had a chance to work the room yet, to get comfortable. They said, we boot anybody that don't say something within 20 seconds, is what they told me. Well, my gosh. Steve says, I just can't help myself. When you have a natural talent, you got to roll with it. Some people play the piano. Oh. Hey, whatever your talent is in life, make it work for you. Oh, I love it. So are you saying, Steve, just so I'm clear, if you were at Shawshank, I'm sure you saw the movie, you were the guy that was going to win the packs of cigarettes because you made somebody cry. Is that what you're saying? You're the winner. You bet the fish that you were going to get to cry. You're saying, that's the guy. I'm going to work on that one. I'm going to get them cigarettes. Brodsky Bear. I'm the anti-libtard. Marking territory, letting people know they're in conservative. I kind of figured. Taunted the heck out of the new fish. Full mental breakdown. Steve's the kind of guy to go, hey, fish, fresh fish. Welcome to hell. I hope you're not a mama's boy. If you are, don't cry. You know you don't do it. Yeah, you know you want to cry. It's okay. I'm here for you. Cry on my shoulder, buddy. Cigarettes on the line here. Oh, I love that movie. I love that movie. It's brutal. I'm not saying I love to see people in lockup, but that movie is so well done. There's so much in that movie. That scene is rough, you know. I mean, the guy, I want my mama. I mean, you just can't do it. Even if you're a dude that wants to, you really want your mama. You can't do it. You can't do that. You gotta be like Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder walking in, you know. You better get tough. You better get tough. You're gonna get tough. You're gonna get I got it. You gotta walk in. You gotta walk in like you own the place. You don't want to stare down anybody, but don't cower. I set people's heads on fire on X just by saying I don't like modern. Not even all out, just the modern mumble stuff. That's enough to make people melt. You know, I had a girl get so mad at me one time, and I didn't care. I got to say, Steve, I've not been that guy. Well, a little bit. I'm not at your level. I guess people say I'm an instigator. I have fished a little bit. But my buddy was dating a girl, and I couldn't stand her. You ever had that happen? And it wasn't because I wanted to be happy. I wanted to have a girlfriend. It wasn't like, you know, because it does change your relationship. Once a guy starts dating a girl, you don't hang out as much, you know. And, you know, it feels a little weird at first. Like, okay, yeah. Well, I got the girl tonight. But my buddy would say, oh, come on over. She hated it. So I could tell she hated my guts. Let's just be clear about it. Hated my guts and was angry that he invited me over. And I never stayed a long time. She wanted him, all to herself. And she would give me that look without him looking like, you need to get out of here. So I played on that a little bit. So I made her mad because she liked, who was it? She liked the music group Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I was never a fan. There's some of their tunes I could be okay with. And it wasn't even really about them. But because I knew that she liked them, I knew I had her. Because I already knew she was passionate about loving their music, loving them. And I forget what I said. She tried to call them a rap group. That's what it was. When you said that, it reminded me of that. She tried to say something about them being a rap group. And I said, they ain't no rap group. You just, that would be disrespectful to true rap artists. Oh my gosh, did she get so mad at me? And what made her even madder is my buddy, we both love music, is that he agreed with me. Oh boy, did she get her feelings hurt. I mean, flames of fire coming out of her eyes as she's looking at me. And I got it just fired up enough that when I left, they had a good fight. And don't think for 1 second that I didn't do that on purpose. It was all a plan, a wicked plan. I thought if I'm leaving here, I'm leaving. And it's not going to be pretty. It's going to take a while for y'all to make up because I didn't think she was good for him. She was such a vindictive person. And in the end, it wasn't good for him. But you got to let your buddy kind of go through that. You got to see how it goes. How do you tell how heavy a chili pepper is? Give it away now. Dude, that's pretty cool. I love it. Oh, I love you popping in here in the mornings, man. You've always got something. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great day at work, by the way. Folks, go visit Half Pine Forest, the Celtic Blacksmith on the X channel and Rumble, and visit his store. I was thinking today, we're not done. I rearranged the studio. We still got some things to do. But I thought about my dinner bell. I got to get it hung up. And I thought, I need to order the other piece instead of hanging it from the leather. I need to hang it from the other thing, whatever you're calling that creation. I don't want to disrespect your creation. I forget what you called it. But anyway, I thought I need to order that and get that hung up behind me on the wall. Yes. I put a picture of Steve there with a hammer under it. The creation of the Celtic Blacksmith. Brusky Bear, the anti-liberal, libtard. Do you go out in the community every day looking for opportunities to just set liberals on their ear? Oh, I'm melting. I can't believe you said that. It's great to say something in a crowd because there's always going to be a few. And they'll just give you that stare. Like, golly, what a piece of trash. Or just wear a MAGA hat or something. Oh, man. Isn't it amazing? We live in the land of free, but everybody, there's so many millions of Americans that want to control your free. It's like, no, I'm free. I don't have to like things you like. I don't have to be whatever you're for. I'm free to believe whatever I want. Just a hanger. It's listed as a straight arm hanger. Okay, probably going to add a curved one soon to add a little variety, but it's meant to hang from the leather thong. Okay, so it'd still be on the leather thong. Is that what they had to call it that? I mean, what's that? Oh, that's my leather thong. That's a brutal thought. What's the matter, Dave? Oh, it's my leather thong. It's just not right. I'm kind of concerned about it. Stop. Hey, I got to stop. You're an influence on me, Steve. Oh, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but you're definitely influence on me. Oh man, I got to take the kids to school. I'm off today, but I would go a little longer. I'll be back though. I'll have programming sometime in the morning hour, mid morning, early afternoon. I've got some podcast stuff I got to get caught up though, but we will have programming tonight as well this evening. Y'all have a great work day out there. Have a productive day, and if that includes liberals crying, even more, the better. More is the better. Be safe out there. We're getting rain here. Get the little kiddos carried off to school where they're doing testing. I think a thong is technically defined as a small string or strap. Before it was a top of underwear. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. My pastor, my former pastor, he's still out there. He's just not a pastor currently. I guess he is, though. Every pastor has to have a pastor. He called the thongs, this is my pastor, he called them butt floss. Yes, I love that. Oh, they're all trying to get into the party. Let's all go to El Salvador. Let's get our moment in the sun. Get some media. Let's go have a margarita and show how American we are. I love it. Get out. Not gonna do it. Turn you around, send you back home. Bunch of crybabies. Oh, they're really worried about people. It's stupid. They're so predictable. Just makes me angry. So predictable. I mean, what's next? Are they going to stand on the tarmac and try to stop the planes? We shall overcome. Is that what's next? Good grief. The pilot union going to say, well, we're not going to fly the planes. You just see where this goes. I mean, once it starts, stupid. Good grief. I don't know if the numbers are true, but I've seen a meme that showed the deportations under each president. Oh my gosh. I want to verify that information. I don't know if y'all saw that. I didn't realize the numbers that were deported under various administrations. Trump's nowhere near that. Interesting. Of course, it won't matter anyway. You could show them anything you wanted. They still wouldn't like that. Have a great day. We'll go out with some music. Kind of put the warhead on your forehead kind of music a little bit. And then we'll see you. We'll be on the air. I don't want to give a time yet. I got to get some things. I got a couple things I got to get done. It's a great day to do it. The rain coming down. I'm gonna go get a couple things done, and then I'm gonna come back to the studio, get some things done here, be ready for programming. So y'all have a great work day, off day, whatever day it is. Brusky Bear, I don't know what kind of work you do. Steve's a machinist. Have a great day out there. Absolutely. And we will see you soon. Yeah. Take today by the horns. Don't let nobody tell you how to do your day. You be the boss. Have a great day. God bless.